But then also, obviously, we still are going to be talking about the Department of Homeland Security's actions, including but not limited to the Columbia student that was hunted by ICE that was able to sue to prevent her deportation. Yun So Chung, a legal permanent resident who has lived in the U.S. since she was 7, participated in pro-Palestinian demonstrations. Immigration agents visited residences looking for her. Insane shit. Also, Rumeysa Öztürk, who was kidnapped by ICE from Tufts. We'll be talking about that. I think it is really strange, if not terrifying, that this kind of stuff is happening right now in the United States of America. And beyond like some motion on Twitter, there is very little backlash. I have yet to see Democratic leadership call this out under no uncertainty. Just like openly say, this is completely unacceptable. This is some Gestapo shit. This is fascism in this country. It is unacceptable. It's not allowed. It is terrifying that this is like one of the most damaging aspects of Trump 2025 so far. And I find myself screaming into the void every single day about it. I keep warning people. I know that there are journalists out there in mainstream outlets that have reached out about this sort of stuff to me and you know, privately to be like, hey, this kind of stuff is really scary. We're seeing what you're saying. I'm not going to name any names, but it is shocking that like the editorial teams are not necessarily covering this stuff. They're not covering this stuff aggressively, and they're dropping the ball spectacularly. And I think a big part of that is because liberal leadership is not saying anything about it. And it leads me to believe that they kind of like it because they don't fucking recognize the damaging aspects of this. The erosion of what remains is what remains is civil liberties that will help you combat fascism is a much larger, much more consequential problem. Like a constitutional crisis over refusing court orders on deportation is truly fucked up.
Off the top here at 5 o'clock, we have just learned that a Tufts University graduate student was taken into ICE custody because investigators allege she was engaged in activities in support of Hamas.
I want to pick the brains of like regular Americans who watch stuff like this. I want them to explain to me how they think this is normal and it's good, actually. Like, this is Gestapo shit, right? You got masked, plain-clothed Gestapo agents in broad daylight kidnapping people because they're just saying they don't like what you had to say about Israel. And everyone's like, yeah, that's normal. That's chill.
Now, they did not give any specifics about what the student is accused of doing. WBZ's Beth Germano is live in Somerville, where a rally will soon be underway with people who are, Beth, supporting that student.
Well, the arrest has certainly sent shockwaves through the Tufts University campus. And as students and friends prepare to gather in support of Rumeysa Öztürk, the Department of Homeland Security has now confirmed she's been sent to an ICE detention center in Louisiana, which flies in the face of a federal judge who ruled she should not leave Massachusetts without prior notification.
Yeah, they're also actively violating court orders, setting up for a constitutional battle that I think is going to determine the next phase of fascism in this country. There are an estimated 2,000 people apparently at this rally that took place a couple hours prior at the Rumeysa rally. I don't know what to say. And they always send them to Louisiana because the judge in Louisiana is more favorable and will make insane decisions, for the record. I told my MAGA mom about Khalil, and she was very alarmed and disgusted, and also told me there are several things she's upset about that this administration has done. The MAGA movement is falling apart. I wouldn't say that it's falling apart, but I do want you to watch this. I want you to watch this, and I want you to understand that this is straight up Gestapo shit, okay? Like, this is not an exaggeration. What they are doing in broad daylight, plainclothes officers running up.
You guys covering your faces? You want to take those masks off? Is this a kidnapping? Yeah, you don't look like it. Why are you hiding your faces? Why are you hiding your face?
If you're processing a lawful order, you should not be ashamed of your identity. I'm kind of confused, actually.
Can I see some faces here? How do I know this is the police?
Seems like bullshit to me.
Certainly looks like it.
The horrific moment that Tufts grad student and anti-war activist Rumeysa Öztürk was detained and kidnapped by Trump's ICE thugs. Imagine a bunch of fucking random mass dudes in broad daylight approach you like this, and then they just cover you from all sides, just snatching you in the middle of the fucking day. A real kidnapping. Like, this is not an exaggeration. When I say fascism is here in the United States of America, I mean it. It is not an exaggeration at all. That's precisely what's going on. She says, call Fatima to her friend. Yeah. Consider this. 6 people in plainclothes approach you and begin to cover their faces. At least one appears armed. As they grab your phone and backpack, they do not prove who they are. They say they're going to take you, but they're not saying why. What would you call that? I really do think that I really thought that there would have been more motion against this sort of stuff. I don't know what it will take for people to actively start putting up a fight against this. Not from the people. Protests are erupting. The people are mad. We're mad. You're mad. The people are protesting. They're taking to the streets. That's not the issue. That's not my issue at all. There's a lot of people that are protesting. What I'm talking about is like Democrats, even Republicans. Like, this is a severe violation of the American Constitution in the most meaningful way, in ways that will, I guess, I'll explain it this way. Americans are selfish. We're self-interested people. We don't care about people outside of our immediate periphery. Barely do we care about others. A violation of the Constitution of this sort actually has the capacity to harm every single American. This is why I'm saying, like, people have to start recognizing that this is going to harm them as well. Even if they don't care about the humanity of Mahmoud Khalil or Rumeysa Öztürk, even if they think like, oh, well, these guys have strange sounding names, they have to understand that a government that can do this to these people, they will inevitably do it to you as well. It's not fear-mongering. It's simply the expectation at this point. Because the reason why they're starting with like foreign-sounding names, or the reason why was she supporting Hamas though? Bitch, what the f*** do you mean was she, even if she literally was, even if she was like, oh my God, I love Hamas. Hamas is my favorite. Hamas is my best friend. You can't do this. The f*** are you talking about? What do you mean? Was she supporting Hamas though? Like, what kind of question is this? No, there is no conciliatory statement here. You can't concede. I couldn't even finish my point. My point is that, one, they're lying about that anyway. And two, it doesn't even matter under the current existing constitutional protections. It doesn't matter if she's like, I love Hamas. Hamas is my best friend. If she was running around saying that, you still can't do this. And the reason why you can't do this is because you don't want people to start making decisions on what you say being considered inappropriate to the degree where they can justify deporting you without due process, revoke your citizenship status without due process. Do you not comprehend this? When there's no due process, there's no checks, there's no assessment. They just claim something and then they lock you up. That's the entire problem with the erosion of due process and a direct violation of court orders. God damn, you're so dumb. People that lean into this like, well, there must have been a real reason for this. They're so dumb. They're believing that a world, they're believing in a world and a system that doesn't exist. They think like, well, there's probably some good reason. Otherwise, why would the government do such a thing? Wake the fuck up. It's because you're overreacting about it. If she's a green card holder, a visa holder, then yes, they can. Doesn't apply the green card. No, that's not true. You're wrong. You're actually wrong. This is what's so frustrating about it. No, you're just objectively wrong. It absolutely does apply to green card holders or visa holders. You know what? I'll take it one step further. It applies to illegal immigrants. Yes, it is. You're wrong. No, I'm not. And if I wasn't wrong, there would be no problems. No court system that says, hey, you can't do this. Do you understand? No, you're just a fucking moron who doesn't know the law. They 100% are not allowed to do this to even non-citizens. Think about that. Who told you that this is actually within the legal confines of the federal government? Tell me right now. Who did you get this information from? Because they're lying to you. You don't need to be charged to have your visa or green card revoked. You cannot take away someone's visa or green card without any reason, okay? You can't do that. If that was the case, there wouldn't be so many checks before you get the visa or the green card. You cannot do that. You can't just like revoke people's citizenship or legal permanent residency status without any significant reason. You absolutely have to have a process where you justify why this is the appropriate method. These are not people that are being nabbed off the street for heinous crimes. Yes, not without any reason, but the Secretary of State holds a large power to revoke them. No, it is a fucking false understanding of it's a bullshit legal interpretation of a tool that has never been utilized, and you're dumb enough to believe that this is a real thing, okay? And no, you don't agree that they need to go through the process. I guess it's fine. No, it isn't. I've read the laws. No, you haven't. You don't understand anything, okay? The Secretary of State has the capacity to potentially revoke the citizenship status or revoke the immigration status or the legal permanent residency status of an individual on U.S. soil. That has an incredibly high bar to clear. Beyond that, that in and of itself is not a reasonable justification because this is a direct violation of the First Amendment. You are wrong. There is no law in the book that says, I don't like what you had to say, so the Secretary of State decided your citizenship is going to be revoked. This is before we even talk about the morality, because legality is not a substitute for morality. I know the legal interpretation argument that you are trying to make, it is incorrect. If that wasn't incorrect, no one would be able to say anything about it. That's why there is going to be potentially a Supreme Court case on this, okay? If this was well-established legal precedent, then there would be no question. It would be like, hey, if you kill someone, you go to jail. What do you mean? That's it. If there was a well-established legal ground, law in Mahmoud Khalil's case was once struck down by Trump's very own sister. Judge Marianne Trump, Barry, ruled that the law invoked against Mr. Khalil violated the Constitution by giving unfettered discretion to the Secretary of State. There's going to most likely be a Supreme Court case on this, and it's going to set the stage for American fascism. Agreed, it needs to go to Supreme Court then? No, you can't turn around and be like, oh, sorry, it's in the rules, and then turn around and be like, okay, I agree, maybe it's not in the rules. If that was the case, then Gestapo agents could just nab any tourist they want to and do whatever the fuck they want to them. Non-citizens and citizens alike on U.S. soil are still protected by the Constitution. This is fucking idiotic. To assume that there's a different standard for non-citizens is wrong. I thought you had read the law. What happened? Now you're agreeing that it needs to go to the Supreme Court. What happened to your brain in this process? In the 30 seconds that you listen to my words, all of a sudden things change. They are, but there are massive restrictions. What are you talking about? This is, again, we're not even covering the other side of the story, which is that legality is not a substitute for morality. There are plenty of immoral laws throughout time that have been abolished and struck down. Slavery was legal. Abolishing slavery was illegal. Freeing slaves was illegal. Do you think that that was a good law? No. Shut the fuck up. Do you think it is a good law that the Secretary of State revokes the citizenship randomly of whoever they see fit for no real reason other than the fact that they want to make a political point? Can't you understand how that would erode the Constitution in its entirety? There's no more protections for the individual citizen. What do you think the Constitution is there for? What do you think regulations are there for? It's not to curb the actions of free citizens. In most circumstances, the Constitution is there to curb the actions of the state against free citizens. That's why it's there. And you're over here fantasizing about a future where the government has no restrictions whatsoever. It's not for no reason. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is for no reason. If the reason being given is bullshit and they know it's bullshit, this person was representing a significant foreign policy threat, that means it's no reason. Causing 100K damage and being the lead negotiator for a Palestinian group is not a First Amendment protected. Yes, it is, because that person didn't do any of those things. They were the lead negotiator for a Palestinian student group in the United States of America, which is protected by the First Amendment. They didn't cause $100,000 of damage. You just pin that on him because you're a dumbass who wants to justify the actions of this state because you're a moron who can't see beyond his nose. You literally are just like, you're locked in. This is as far as you see. You're like, oh, this will never come back to me. You're a moron. The entire reason why he was the lead negotiator with the school was because he was calm and collected. He's one of the worst people. If you want to make an argument, he's one of the worst people to use as an example. No, it isn't, he says. I don't even know what he's responding to. And the Tufts student didn't do that. And neither did this student. This student didn't do anything, as a matter of fact. She was just in the presence of a pro-Palestinian rally. The Indian student who self-deported literally only signed a piece of paper that said Architects Against Genocide. Do you think that's justifiable to deport people over? If you say yes to that, you're a moron. If you think that a government that does that is not going to come after you one day, you are literally the dumbest person on the planet. You have no self-preservation skills. And even if they had, for the record, no idea what she did, so to be honest, can't comment, then why? Why do you have such a firm conviction, a firmly held conviction on the matter when you were wrong on the Marco Rubio reasoning? You literally admitted that, yeah, it should go to the Supreme Court then. You were wrong on what Mahmoud Khalil was even charged with, which he wasn't charged with any of those things that you're saying. And the only thing that he was responsible for is unironically protected by the First Amendment. You are deluded on all of these other instances of comparable cases of ICE trying to kidnap people and detain them and deport them. What are you right about? You're right about nothing. You are right about zero things in this process. So perhaps, maybe you're wrong about how you don't realize that this will inevitably harm you as well, or a loved one. I read the law. You're not even literate, dumbass. The fuck are you talking about? I read the law. You didn't read shit. You don't even know how to read, apparently. There is no justification for any of these people to be grabbed from the fucking streets, dude. Are you guys kidding? It starts off with immigrants. It starts off with legal permanent residents and student visa holders. It will inevitably move to American citizens as well. Either American citizens that were recently naturalized or American citizens that were born here. That's how this works. There is no finite amount of cruelty that they will stop at, because this is not about a real reason. If there's no real justification for it, then clearly they're just trying to slowly but surely erode the constitutional protections that protect you, the American citizens, against government enforcement. That is the entire point of the fucking Constitution. But dumb First Amendment lovers and Second Amendment lovers can't even understand this basic fact. It blows my fucking mind how stupid these bootlicking libertarians actually are. Oh my God. If they had anything to be able to charge these people with, like serious crimes, okay, that are deportable offenses, that are crimes significant enough for them to actually go through the process of revoking their citizenship and deportation, or legal permanent residency status and deportation, then they would go through it. They wouldn't just try to nab people off the street and then try to expeditiously ship them to Louisiana after judge shopping to find a dumbass judge that's hog enough to say, yeah, let's do it. Let's deport them. They'd get a warrant. They'd go through the court system. They're not doing that because they know they have nothing. Asman hasn't talked about these students yet, so he has no firmly held convictions that he just got last week. Yeah. Can't wait for HasanAbi to get deported. You terrorist supporter. Brother, let me explain something to you, okay? I'm an American citizen. Do you understand that? I'm an American citizen. I was born here. So if the government is deporting an American citizen who is also relatively wealthy, relatively famous, what the fuck do you think they're going to do to you? A country that is fantasizing about deporting me has already put you under the concentration camp. Like, this is the thing that people don't understand, where they're like fantasizing about this growing fascism, where they think that they will somehow come out of it alive and unscathed. Like, you're insane. I don't support terrorists, dude. Dog, that doesn't matter. That's my point. Neither do any of these fucking people, okay? You're a dumbass. You think that The American government is your fucking manager, okay? You're like, oh yeah, no, it's great. I just called a manager and then the manager takes care of this thing because you're stupid enough to just not click X on my live stream where you can't stop yourself from watching me and just get increasingly angrier and angrier while not realizing that an American government that does that to someone like myself is going to fucking destroy you. It's going to destroy you before it destroys me, I promise you. I at least have some kind of financial status to be able to fight against this sort of thing. So you're actively advocating for your own demise. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face. They fired like 60K vets from the VA. What does this chatter think will happen to them? Dude, these guys openly say, like, we don't give a fuck about you, okay? They openly say, we don't give a fuck about you. You're broke. You're poor. And they fucking love it. They're like, oh, hell yeah, sir. Hell yeah. Go dunk on my enemies further. I don't care. You're so stupid, man. Yeah, my radical views are America should stop spending endless amounts of money on global warfare, just murdering brown people at a rapid clip, and instead spend it on dumb f***s like you so you can get health care, so you can get free education. That's my opinion. That's my radical position. If you find that position to be radical, you got to get your head examined. Oh, wait, no, you can't because the hospital shut down in your rural area and no one is coming to save you. So that's why you sit around in a hovel every goddamn day, angrier and angrier until the ISPs also remove themselves from your locality. And you go, why did this happen? I can't even watch my least favorite Twitch streamer any longer. Keep advocating for your own demise, dude. Dumbass views. Hope you get yours. Yes, I hope I do get the same output that I put out. I hope that people also advocate for my best interests as well. Because that's what I'm doing for you. You might not recognize it, but that is unironically what I'm doing for you. So I wish that all my haters, instead of being fantasizing about different ways of murdering me, would be fantasizing about different ways of improving my living standards, like a walkable city, public transit, a reduction in traffic. These are fantastic ways to improve my life in a really meaningful way. I hope you advocate for that in the same way that I advocate for your best interest.
The screams of a frightened Tufts University graduate student as a half-dozen ICE agents intercept her on a Somerville sidewalk and cuff her late Tuesday afternoon.
Where the police?
Her attorney says Rumeysa Ozturk, a PhD student, is a Turkish national here on an international student visa. She was walking up the sidewalk near her home, about to get dinner with friends to break her Ramadan fast, when the masked agents took her into custody and put her in an unmarked vehicle. Neighbors claim they've been watching the area.
We had noticed a person sitting in a Ford Explorer, black Ford Explorer, just on the corner of our street for a full day with the engine on and taking notes, so we were a little bit surprised to see that.
That's one of the cars, and that's the other car that's kind of involved here.
It was Mike Mathis's security camera that caught the arrest, saying one of the vans had been on the street yesterday since the early morning.
Can I see some faces here? How do I know this is the police?
I live in Somerville. You know, we're supposed to be a sanctuary city. We're supposed to be a place of safety. She's a student here on a visa.
It's unclear why Ozturk was targeted. She had allegedly voiced support for the pro-Palestinian movement at Tufts, but was not known as a prominent leader. Her attorney said in a statement, "We are unaware of her whereabouts and have not been able to contact her."
I'm not kidding when I say this. Like, I'm judging by the pattern I've seen so far, it's literally Stop Anti-Semitism, Beitar, and Canary Mission style operations that are directly feeding the federal government new targets to go after. Like, I think they're just like finding random victims. I mean, they're openly flexing, by the way. Beitar just straight up says they're working with the federal government. They have lists of people that they just send to ICE with the hopes that they'll do this to them. It's fucking insane. Canary Mission doxed her 2 days before she was detained. Well, there you go. Jewish Zionist groups, Canary Mission, Beitar, ADL, are leading the charge in having Muslims rounded up by federal agents, thrown in ICE detention centers, and deported for their speech, ignoring how anti-Muslim, anti-Arab structural racism and violence is fomented and plays out in this country, and who is at its helm, hand in hand with the government and every major institution, is to aid and allow this fascism to thrive and the eradication of Palestinians to be justified. Rumeysa's only crime was writing a f***ing op-ed for the university paper last year Öztürk was a student at Tufts doctoral program for child study and human development, had her visa revoked, her attorney said. The university email confirmed and stated it had no prior knowledge of the incident. Öztürk's attorney Masa Khambabai filed a habeas petition in Massachusetts federal court seeking Öztürk's release. The U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani has ordered ICE not to relocate Öztürk out of Massachusetts without advance notice. ICE must also explain why such a transfer is necessary before any relocation occurs. Öztürk has been vocal about her pro-Palestine stance and co-authored a March 2024 op-ed criticizing Tufts' handling of pro-Palestinian activism. Her lawyer says she was recently doxxed on Canary Mission, a site known for targeting pro-Palestinian activists by publicly sharing their photos and details. This is reportedly the first known instance of a student activist being targeted by federal immigration authorities in Boston. A protest is scheduled at 5:30 p.m. at Powderhouse Square Park in Somerville in response to the detention. They kidnapped a Fulbright scholar off the streets of Somerville and absconded her to Louisiana with zero due process and no known criminal charges, very likely in response to bogus anti-Semitism allegations stemming from an op-ed she wrote, critical of the atrocities by Israeli state. I've just been informed by the government council that Rumeysa has been sent to Louisiana. It took nearly 24 hours after she was detained for me to be appraised of her location. I have been unable to speak with Rumeysa, but have requested that I have the opportunity to speak with her immediately. Government officials have not yet provided me with the charges against her or any evidence that she has engaged in any wrongdoing. Rumeysa is a Fulbright scholar and a PhD student who deserves to be back at Tufts completing her PhD. No, deport the supporter of terrorists. Lesson here, don't support terrorists, especially as a guest in our country. Send the Jew hater back to Turkey. She FO and now FO. Gaza State has a very nice PhD program. It's like, I don't think many on the left would have predicted that Jewish supremacy was going to be the vanguard of fascism, but it is, and people need to wake up. These are religious fanatics engaged in a holy war, and I'm sorry, but the lack of civil war in the U.S. Jewish community is telling. I'm actually kind of shocked. I will admit, Jews who have historically been at the forefront of revolutionary actions, it is genuinely shocking that more Jews are not fucking alarmed by the fact that, like, these Zionist institutions that masquerade as Jewish institutions are actually, like, Jewish advocacy groups are actually unironically doing neo-Nazi shit. I know this is preaching to the choir. I'm not talking to you guys in here. Obviously, you guys, my Jewish fans, are very tapped into this and very frustrated. Why? Why is it shocking to me? I don't know. Centuries of pogroms and the fucking Holocaust? How the fuck do Jews not realize how quickly this will turn on them? You have to be a real dumbass if you think that this is going to, that people are not going to be resentful and spiteful towards you. When that turn comes, do you think that the American government is going to protect Jews? Fuck no. They're going to be like, yeah, all right, pack them up. Yeah, they got a lot of wealth. Let's extract it. That's what they're going to fucking say. We're not that far removed from the fucking Holocaust. Like, how are people this comfortable leaning? How are Jews specifically this comfortable leaning into the same neo-Nazi shit that slaughtered their grandparents? Like, what the fuck? It doesn't make any sense. Like, do you just have collective amnesia? How the fuck are you not at the forefront, beyond Jewish Voice for Peace? I'm talking like all of these Jewish advocacy groups should be dismantled piece by piece by Jews who are like, no, this is done. You've gone way too far. Yeah, even parents, not even grandparents. Like, for you guys, yeah, your grandparents. But Jews over a certain age, like, they either A, there are still living survivors of the Holocaust, B, immediate parents and family members that were slaughtered in the Holocaust. How the fuck do you not understand? This is the same shit. It's starting. It already started. It's here. I don't understand it. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it at all. Like, the other part about it is that, like, the government is not exactly hiding that they don't, like, they're just like fake using the anti-Semitism thing as a cudgel. Like Grant Minor. Grant Minor was the Columbia Student Workers Union leader. Grant Minor is fucking Jewish. And not only was he Jewish, but he also was a PhD student for Jewish historical literature. Like, what the fuck? He's one of the people that got fucking clapped in this process. He's an American citizen, so they didn't deport him. But, like, they kicked him. They revoked his fucking, they revoked his diploma. Yeah, they're using Executive Order 1488, by the way, to do this, to add insult to injury. I don't know, man. I don't know where we go from here. This is insane. It really feels like as long as the domestic fascism is never coming to American Jews supporting Israel, there's no limit to what will be tolerated and even championed by them. The entire project is predicated on fascism against non-Jews. The difference between that and overt religious supremacy is getting blurrier and blurrier by the day. It is overt religious supremacy because Zionism, which is, especially in the United States of America, the expression of Judaism is not done on the boundaries of, like, Yom Kippur or following the religious tenets closely. It's for many secular Jews, it's done on the boundary of Zionism. It's become this like national religion. It's all the aspects of community, all the aspects of like religious expression almost always tie back to the Zionist project. The defense and the maintenance of a religious, ethno-religious supremacist apartheid state. Look, everything, all the symbols of religion are used in this regard. And basically it's this self-sustaining cycle of propaganda. So for a lot of people, I feel like this is just, my experience talking to anti-Zionist Jews and Zionist Jews alike. As far as I understand, it is basically a substitution from, following the religion or having a sense of community on the boundaries of Judaism, and instead following the religious aspects and finding a sense of community over defending Israel. Yes, I'm just saying my family members, for example, wouldn't outwardly support religious supremacy like Kahanism, but what is truly the difference between that and turning a blind eye to domestic fascism done in their name? At the end of the day, it's the same bullshit. Yeah. No, that's okay. You're right. Yes. Kahanism is a grosser, more overt version of that, but I've seen like yellow ribbon liberal Zionist accounts basically saying never again just means for Jews. Like straight up Kahana shit. Actually, never again just meant for the Jews, not for you. Like that's an insane thing to say, dude. That's just like undermines everything I've read and everything I've learned about like Jewish culture in general through centuries of overcoming historic wrongs. It's insane.